continuity with instructions is ensured by the controlling. However, it cannot exist in isolation without direction, which is the source of the instruction. So this ensures the employee doesn't stray away from what is to be done and keeps them in discipline. So the process of directing thus becomes the heart of the managing process and act as a link connecting the functions of planning, organizing, staffing with controlling and the coordination and other managerial function. So its function is to pump guidance and motivation to all parts of the organization and ensure a healthy environment. That is the importance of the directing function. So in starting हम introduction किया, हम लोगों ने meaning किया, भी importance किया. Next is next topic is principles of directing. कल हम लोगों ने प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजिंग स्ट्रक्चर पढ़ा था. दैट प्रिंसिपल्स मतलब गाइडलाइंस, कि जब आप डायरेक्टिंग फंक्शन को फॉलो करते हो तो उसके लिए क्या गाइडलाइंस देती है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. तो दीज आर द प्रिंसिपल, इनको ध्यान में रखते हुए आपको फंक्शन परफॉर्म करना पड़ेगा. दैट आर द प्रिंसिपल्स. ठीक है. सो फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल इज मैक्सिमम इंडिविजुअल कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन. कि वन ऑफ द मेन प्रिंसिपल ऑफ द डायरेक्टिंग इज द कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स. कि management should adopt such directing policies that motivates the employees to contribute their maximum potential for the attainment of the organizational goal. कहीं ना कहीं इंडिविजुअल का मैक्सिमम कंट्रीब्यूशन होना चाहिए. सेकंड, हार्मनी ऑफ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. Harmony of objectives. Sometimes there is a conflict between the organizational objectives and the individual objectives. For example, the organization wants profits to increase and to retain its major share, whereas employee may perceive that they should get a major share as a bonus and then as they have worked hard for it. So there is a harmony of the objective. कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अपने प्रॉफिट्स को इंक्रीज करना चाहता है, अपने शेयर को मैक्सिमम रिटेन करना चाहता है, और वही एम्प्लॉय चाहता है कि हम लोग ज्यादा काम करते हैं तो हमें कहीं ना कहीं मेजर शेयर एज अ बोनस मिले. तो दिस इज हार्मनी ऑफ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव के लिए काम कर रहे हैं और एम्प्लॉयज अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स के लिए काम कर रहे हैं. थर्ड आता है आपका यूनिटी ऑफ कमांड. ये मैंने कल भी बोला था कि यूनिटी ऑफ कमांड ऐसा प्रिंसिपल है जो हर फंक्शन में फॉलो किया जाता है. क्योंकि यूनिटी ऑफ कमांड का बेसिक मीनिंग क्या है? टॉप लेवल हमें कमांड दे रहे हैं और लोअर लेवल उसको फुलफिल कर रहे हैं. सो तो कहीं ना कहीं चाहे प्लानिंग हुई, प्लानिंग में फॉर्मुलेट तो किन्होंने किया? टॉप लेवल ने किया. और एग्जीक्यूट फॉर्मुलेट और एग्जीक्यूट किसने किया? टॉप लेवल ने किया और नीचे वालों ने उसको फॉलो किया. ठीक है. ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजिंग स्ट्रक्चर बनाया किसने? टॉप लेवल मैनेजर ने, और लोअर लेवल ने उसको फॉलो किया. सेम विद डायरेक्टिंग. अब जो डायरेक्शन की गाइडलाइंस है वो टॉप लेवल बना रहे हैं और उसको नीचे फॉलो कर रहे हैं. तो यूनिटी ऑफ कमांड इज द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ एवरी फंक्शन. ठीक है. So this principle states that a subordinate should receive instructions from only one superior at a time. Or if he receives instruction from more than one superior at the same time, that will create confusion, conflict, and disorder in the organization, and also he will not be able to prioritize his work. और यूनिटी ऑफ कमांड का एक और मीनिंग था कि देयर इज ओनली वन बॉस. एक सबऑर्डिनेट का एक सिंगल बॉस है. एक सबऑर्डिनेट सिर्फ एक सिंगल बॉस को अकाउंटेबल है, यानी आंसरेबल है. दैट इज यूनिटी ऑफ कमांड. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट प्रिंसिपल इज next principle is appropriate direction technique. Among the principles of directing, this one states that appropriate direction technique should be used to supervise, lead, communicate, and motivate the employees based on their needs, capabilities, attitudes, and other situational variables. So these are the appropriate direction techniques. Next है आपका managerial communication. According to this principle, it should be seen that the instructions are clearly conveyed to the employees, and it should be ensured that they have understood the same meaning as was intended to be communicated. So this is how managerial communication works. Obviously communication का मतलब क्या है? Clearly आप एम्प्लॉयज को कन्वे कर दो इंस्ट्रक्शन एंड इंश्योर करो कि वो उसको सेम मीनिंग जो आपने कन्वे किया है वही सेम मीनिंग उनको समझ में आ गया, तो एक तरीके से हेल्दी कम्युनिकेशन हो सके, दैट इज मैनेजरियल कम्युनिकेशन. एंड नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज use of informal organization. Within every formal organization, there exists an informal group or organization. The manager should identify those groups and use them to communicate information. There should be a free flow of information among the seniors and the subordinates, as an effective exchange of information are really important for the growth of the organization. ये भी मैं ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुकी हूँ कि कहीं ना फॉर्मल ग्रुप्स तो ऑब्वियसली मैंडेटरी है ही है, वो तो होते ही हैं, लेकिन इनफॉर्मल ग्रुप्स का ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में होना भी एक हेल्दी इन्वायरमेंट क्रिएट करता है, क्योंकि बिकॉज ऑफ इनफॉर्मल ग्रुप देयर इज अ फ्री फ्लो ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन अमंग द सीनियर्स एंड द सबऑर्डिनेट्स. So this is really important for the growth of an organization. So this is the use of informal organization principle. Next is leadership. The manager should possess a good leadership quality to influence the subordinates and make them work according to their wish. So it is one of the important principles of the directing कि manager कहीं ना कहीं एक good leadership quality होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि वो कहीं ना कहीं as a leader play करता है to influence the subordinate and make them work according to their wish. And the last principle is follow through. As per this principle, managers are required to monitor the extent to which the policies, procedures, and instructions are followed by the subordinate. If there is any problem in the implementation, then suitable modifications can be done. That is follow through. कि मान लो आप में कोई प्रॉब्लम आ रही है इम्प्लीमेंट करने में, कोई प्लान आप लोगों ने डिजाइन किया, सो सुटेबल मॉडिफिकेशन कैन बी मेड, दैट इज फॉलो थ्रू. ठीक है, सो ये थे प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ डायरेक्टिंग. हमने इंपॉर्टेंस डिस्कस किए, प्रिंसिपल्स डिस्कस किए. नाउ वी आर डिस्कसिंग द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ द डायरेक्शन फंक्शन. द फर्स्ट इज परवेसिव फंक्शन. कि डायरेक्टिंग इज रिक्वायर्ड एट ऑल लेवल्स ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड एवरी मैनेजर provides guidance and inspiration to his subordinates. That is pervasive function. Pervasive का पहले pervasive का मीनिंग समझ लो. परवेसिव का मतलब होता है कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के सारे लेवल पे कोई चीज रिक्वायर्ड है, मतलब एट एवरी लेवल. सो डायरेक्टिंग इज, जैसे प्लानिंग पढ़ा था वो भी परवेसिव फंक्शन था. प्लानिंग इज रिक्वायर्ड एट ऑल लेवल्स ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. हमने ऑर्गेनाइजिंग पढ़ा, ऑर्गेनाइजिंग इज आल्सो रिक्वायर्ड एट ऑल लेवल ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. सेम डायरेक्टिंग इज आल्सो रिक्वायर्ड एट ऑल लेवल्स ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. बिकॉज क्यों? बिकॉज एवरी मैनेजर प्रोवाइड्स गाइडेंस एंड इंस्पिरेशन टू हिज सबऑर्डिनेट्स. सेकेंड इज कॉन्टिन्यूस एक्टिविटी. अब हमने इंपॉर्टेंस में भी डिस्कस किया कि कहीं ना कहीं डायरेक्टिंग जो है, डायरेक्शन इज अ कॉन्टिन्यूस एक्टिविटी एज इट कंटिन्यूस थ्रू आउट द लाइफ ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. कि जब तक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है तब तक आपको डायरेक्शन की रिक्वायरमेंट होगी. थर्ड इज ह्यूमन फैक्टर. ह्यूमन फैक्टर बेसिकली कि डायरेक्टिंग फंक्शन इज रिलेटेड टू द सबऑर्डिनेट्स एंड देयरफॉर इट इज रिलेटेड टू द ह्यूमन फैक्टर. सिंस ह्यूमन फैक्टर इज कॉम्प्लेक्स, इवन एवरीबॉडी नोस कि हर ह्यूमन का अपना बिहेवियर है. सो ह्यूमन फैक्टर सबसे कॉम्प्लेक्स है एंड बिहेवियर जो है वो अनप्रेडिक्टेबल है. सो डायरेक्शन फंक्शन बिकम्स इंपॉर्टेंट. सो डायरेक्शन फंक्शन बिकम्स इंपॉर्टेंट. नेक्स्ट, क्रिएटिव एक्टिविटी. कि डायरेक्टिंग फंक्शन helps in converting plans into performance, and without this function, people become inactive and physical resources are meaningless. Next, executive function. The direction function is carried out by all the managers and executives at all levels throughout the working of an enterprise. Or a subordinate receives instruction from his superior only. That is executive function. And the last is delegate function. The direction is supposed to be a function dealing with human beings. Human behavior is unpredictable by nature, and conditioning the people's behavior towards the goal of the enterprise and is what the executive does in its function. Therefore, it is termed as having delicacy in it to tackle human behavior. That is delegate function. So these are the features of the directing function. Importance we have already discussed. Now, अभी हम लोगों ने पढ़े थे ना इसके elements. The first is supervision. So there is a question asked, what are the role of the supervisor in the organization? So go through it. The supervisor has got an important role to play in the factory management. Supervision means overseeing the subordinates at work at the factory level. The supervisor is a part of the management team and he holds the designation of first line manager. So he's a person who has to perform many functions which helps in achieving productivity. Therefore, supervisor can be called as the only manager who has an important role at execution level. So there are certain philosophers who call supervisors as workers. There are yet some philosophers who call them as managers, but actually he should be called as a manager or operative manager. So his primary job is to manage the workers at operative level of the management. किसका? Supervisor का. Primary job is to manage the workers at operative level of the management. Now the supervisor side plays a multidisciplinary role at one time, like as a planner. Your supervisor has to plan the daily work schedules in the factory, and at the same time he has to divide the work to various workers according to their abilities. So he worked as a planner. Second, he worked as a manager. It is rightly said that a supervisor is a part of the management team of an enterprise. So he is in fact an operative manager. जो अभी मैंने ऊपर पैराग्राफ डिस्कस किया उसमें यही तो बोल रहा है वो कि सुपरवाइजर है कौन. कहते कुछ लोग इसको मैनेजर बोलते हैं, कुछ लोग इसको लाइन मैनेजर बोलते हैं, कुछ लोग इसको ऑपरेटिव मैनेजर बोलते हैं. तो एक्चुअली हु इज ही इज एक्चुअली अ मैनेजर बट ही इज परफॉर्म द मल्टीप्लेनरी रोल एट वन टाइम. जैसे कि एज अ प्लानर, एज अ मैनेजर. नाउ थर्ड इज एज अ गाइड एंड द लीडर. Your factory supervisor leads the workers by guiding them the way of perform their tasks, daily tasks. So in fact he plays a role of an inspirer by telling them. तो कहीं ना कहीं जब वो एज अ लीडर काम करता है, एज अ गाइड काम कर रहा है, तो ही प्लेज अ रोल ऑफ एन इंस्पायरर. ठीक है. एंड एज अ मीडिएटर. As a mediator, fourth role is as a mediator. Key supervisor is called a linking pen between management and the workers. So he's the spokesperson of the management as well as the worker. So how he works as a mediator. Now again he plays a role as an inspector. यहाँ पे इंस्पेक्टर का मतलब है इंस्पेक्शन से. इंस्पेक्शन समझते हो? जैसे क्वालिटी चेक करना, कंट्रोल स्टैंडर्ड्स चेक करना, दैट इज एन इंस्पेक्शन करना किसी चीज की, दैट इज एन इंस्पेक्टर. ठीक है. सो एन इंपॉर्टेंट रोल ऑफ सुपरवाइजर इज टू इन्फोर्स डिसिप्लिन इन द फैक्ट्री. For this, the work include like checking progress of the work against the time schedule, recording the work performances at regular intervals, reporting the deviations, if any, from those. So it can also frame rules and regulations which have to be followed by the workers during their work. And last, he performed as a counselor. Your supervisor plays the role of a counselor to the worker's problem. He has to perform his role in order to build good relations and cooperation from workers. This can be done not only by listening to the grievances but also handling the grievances and satisfying the workers. So therefore we can say that effective and efficient supervision helps in serving better work performance, building good human relations, creating a congenial and cooperative environment. This all helps in increasing productivity. So ये the role of the supervisor कि वो as a role क्या play करता है. नेक्स्ट आता है कि फंक्शंस क्या है सुपरवाइजर के. व्हाट आर द फंक्शंस ऑफ अ सुपरवाइजर? Again, supervisor being the manager in direct contact with the operatives has got multi-functions. To perform, the objective behind performance of these functions is to bring stability and soundness in the organization, which can be secured through increase in profit, which is an end result of higher productivity. So therefore, a supervisor should be conferred with performing the following actions. The first is planning and controlling. The supervisor basic role is to plan the daily work schedule of the workers by guiding them the nature of their work and also dividing the work amongst the workers according to their interest, aptitudes, skills and interest. Second, provision of working condition. ये रिपीट है, मतलब कहीं ना कहीं मैं ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुकी हूँ, इसमें रिपीट में टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे. आज ऑलरेडी क्लास 10 मिनट्स लेट है, थोड़ा स्पीड से करेंगे. Second is provision of working conditions. A supervisor plays an important role in the physical setting of the factory and in arranging the physical resources at right place. So this involves providing proper sitting place, ventilation, lighting, water facilities, etc. to the workers. His main responsibility is here to provide healthy and hygienic conditions to the workers. So this is the provision of the working conditions. Next, leadership and the guidance. The supervisor is the leader of the workers under him. He leads to the workers and influences them to work his best. He also guides the worker by fixing production targets and providing them instructions and guidelines to achieve those targets. Again, repeat motivation. The supervisor plays an important role by providing different incentives to the workers to perform better. There are different monetary and non-monetary incentives which can inspire the workers to work better. Next, controlling. The controlling is an important function performed by the supervisor. This will involve first, recording the actual performance against the time schedule. Second, checking of progress of work. Third, finding out deviations if any or making solutions. Fourth, if not independently solved, reporting it to the top management. This is how controlling work. Next, linking pen. Here, supervisor proves to be a linking pin between management and the worker. He communicates the policies of the management to workers, also passes instructions to them on behalf of management. On the other hand, he has a close contact with the workers and therefore can interact the problems, complaints, suggestions, etc. to the management. So in this way, he communicates worker problems and brings it to the notice of the management. Next, grievance handling. The supervisor can handle the grievances of the workers effectively. For this, he has to done the following things. The first, he can be in direct touch with the workers. He can be in direct touch with the workers. Second, by winning the confidence of the workers by solving their problems. Third, by taking worker problems on humanitarian grounds. And the last, if he cannot tackle it independently, so he can take the help and advice of the management to solve it. This is the grievance handling. Next is reporting. A supervisor has got an important role to report about the cost, quality, and any such output which can be responsible for increasing productivity. So factors like cost, output, performance, quality, etc. can be reported continually to the management. And introducing new working methods. The supervisor here has to conscious about the environment of market and competition present Therefore, he cannot innovate the techniques of production. He can shift the workers into fresh schedules whenever possible. He can also try his best to keep on changing and improving to the physical environment around the workers. And this will result in higher productivity, higher morale of the workers, satisfying working conditions, improving human relations, higher profits, and high stability. This is how introducing the new working methods. And the last is enforcing indiscipline. So, a supervisor can undertake many steps to maintain discipline in the concern by regulating checks and measures, strictness and orders and instructions, keeping an account of general discipline of the factory, implementing penalties and punishment for the indisciplined workers. So, all these above steps help in improving the overall discipline of the factory. So, ये थे functions of the supervisor. Again, I am referring this book, C.B. Gupta. Again, I am repeating. And don't message me personally कि मैम कौन सी बुक लेनी है. I don't know तुम्हें नंबर कहाँ से मिला है. मैं हर क्लास में रिपीट कर रही हूँ. C.B. गुप्ता बाय कर लो अगर जिसको खरीदनी है. SOL का मटेरियल ले आओ जाके. लेसन प्लान्स है वहां पर. एंड बाकी जो मैं PDF शेयर करती हूँ यहाँ से स्क्रीनशॉट ले लिया करो. Okay. So नाउ जब हमने डायरेक्शन की बात की तो देयर इज अ एलिमेंट. अभी हम लोगों ने सुपरवाइजर सुपरविजन पढ़ा, उसके रोल पढ़े, फंक्शन पढ़े. ऐसे सेकंड एलिमेंट था आपका लीडरशिप. ठीक है. सो नाउ व्हाट इज लीडरशिप? दिस इज आल्सो द पार्ट ऑफ द डायरेक्टिंग फंक्शन. सो दिस इज द basic main element of the directing function. So what is leadership? So leadership is an influence relationship among leaders and followers who intend real changes and reflect their mutual purpose. So it is not an act or set of act, it is a process. कि leadership कोई एक act नहीं है या set of acts नहीं है, it is a process. It is not just influencing, yet it involves influencing others through leadership. While between the leader and the followers, the influence is mutual. Together, they influence the environment around them in some way. So leadership goes beyond goals, and this is a purpose, a cause which are broad enough to create a vision. Vision क्या होता है? Futuristic approach that connects followers who might have a different individual goals. जो concept है, the concept of the leadership has been quite visible in areas such as the military operations, politics, and management. So within the work organization, leadership is no longer exclusively spontaneous or emergent. Leadership can be assigned as a part of the requirement of the exclusive jobs of the individuals, teams, or it can be the part of the expectations that members of a role set have from individual teams. And it has a managerial functions no longer limited to the top officers. So to become a great leader, check out this business speaker. Okay, there are different types of leadership styles that exist in the working environment, and advantages and disadvantages exist in each leadership style. Some companies offer the same leadership style while others follow the different leadership style depending upon what task to perform. It is only the culture and goals of an organization that determines which type of leadership suits the firm. So leadership के भी types होते हैं. Everybody knows authentic leadership, autocratic, ये सब हम लोगों ने पढ़ा हुआ है. The first type is authentic leadership. The authentic leadership approach seems to have evolved in the light of major scams and scandals. A blind race for profit and personal gains, and a short-term perspective involving the CEOs of the top organizations. Basically, जो authentic leadership होते हैं ना, उनका focus किस पे होता है? On the charter of the leader as a driver of the positive interrelationships. कि authenticity का मतलब क्या is about something genuine, not attempting to play a role, not acting in a manipulative way. Authentic मतलब genuinely he is playing the role. Authenticity, that is genuine. ठीक है. और autocratic leadership की बात करें, it allows the autocratic leaders to take the ultimate control of taking decision without consulting others. जो autocratic होते हैं ना, वो पता कैसे होते हैं? जैसे मोनोपोली टाइप के लोग कि हमारी ही चलनी है, मतलब अल्टीमेट उन्हीं का वो क्या करते हैं, वो किसी की सुनते नहीं है. दे डोंट इवन कंसल्ट विद द अदर्स, दे अल्टीमेटली टेक द डिसीजंस विदाउट कंसल्टिंग अदर. दैट इज ऑटोक्रेटिक. ठीक है, तो ये होता है सेकंड टाइप ऑफ लीडरशिप, दैट इज ऑटोक्रेटिक लीडरशिप. Autocratic leader जो basically possesses a higher level of the power and authority and imposes its will on the employees. कि इसके पास इतनी हायर लेवल की पावर अथॉरिटी होती है कि अपनी इच्छा कहीं ना कहीं एम्प्लॉयज के ऊपर इम्पोज करते हैं. दैट इज ऑटोक्रेटिक, मतलब मोनोपोली है एक तरीके से. एंड दिस टाइप ऑफ लीडरशिप प्रूव्स टू बी यूजफुल. अब ऐसा नहीं है कि अब ऑटोक्रेटिक स्टाइल है कहीं यूज नहीं होगा, मोनोपोली है तो हर सिचुएशन में इसको कहीं ना कहीं अंडरमाइन किया जाएगा. नहीं, कहीं कहीं जगह पे ऑटोक्रेटिक लीडरशिप की भी रिक्वायरमेंट होती है. कहाँ होती है? जहां पर close level of supervision is required. Creative employees morale goes down because their output is not given importance and is often detested by the employees. So since they are unable to take any part in decision making, so they result in the job satisfaction and staff turnover. So third type of leadership आता है laissez faire leadership. Under this type of leadership, जो laissez faire leader होते हैं doesn't exercise control over its employees directly. Since employees are highly experienced and need little supervision, so a laissez faire leader fails to provide continuous feedback to the employees under his or her supervision. These are the kind of the laissez faire leadership. ये कहीं ना कहीं ना इनका सुपरविजन कम होता है क्योंकि डायरेक्टली सुपरवाइज करते नहीं, एक्सरसाइज करते नहीं है. तो जो कॉन्टिन्यूस फीडबैक मिलना होता है ना एम्प्लॉय से, तो उसमें ये फेल हो जाते हैं. दे आर द लेज़र्स फेयर लीडरशिप. फोर्थ आता है आपका ट्रांसनेशनल लीडरशिप. फोर्थ टाइप क्या आती है? ट्रांसनेशनल लीडरशिप. ये बहुत अच्छे लीडर्स होते हैं. इंफॉर्मेशनल लीडरशिप भी बोलते हैं इनको. इसका दूसरा नाम क्या है? इंफॉर्मेशनल लीडरशिप. Basically क्या करता है? It highlights a leader as a facilitator of change occurring when one or more persons engage with others in such a way कि leaders and followers raise one another to higher level of motivation the morality. इसमें ना वो मिलकर काम करते हैं. इंफॉर्मेशन ऊपर से नीचे जा रही है, नीचे से ऊपर जा रही है, एक हाई लेवल ऑफ मोटिवेशन क्रिएट हो रहा है, मोरालिटी बिल्डअप हो रही है. दिस काइंड ऑफ वर्क इज डन बाय द इंफॉर्मेशनल लीडर. So the process of transformational leadership aims at influencing changes in attitudes and assumptions held by the organizational members and building commitment for the organizational goals and objectives. So a higher level of communication exists between managers and employees, and it is under the guidance of the leaders that employees meet their goals and enhance productivity and efficiency. So ये थे ट्रांसनेशनल लीडर. So next are the bureaucratic leadership. Under bureaucratic leadership, a leader believes in the structured procedures and ensure that his or her employees follow procedure exactly. Full stop. And this also type of leadership leaves no space to explore new ways to solve problem. In fact, to work by book. ब्यूरोक्रेटिक लीडर्स क्या होते हैं कि कहीं ना वो एक मौका नहीं छोड़ते अपनी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने का, कोई कि नए बेसिस को सॉल्व किया जाए. मतलब आज के टाइम में जो लेटेस्ट वे होगा उस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने का, दे फॉलो दैट. इनफैक्ट दे वर्क बाय द बुक. So this type of leadership is normally followed in the hospitals, universities, banks, where a large amount of money is involved, and government organizations to reduce corruption and increase security. So self-motivated individuals who are highly energetic often feel frustrated because of the organization's inability to adapt to the changing environments. नेक्स्ट आता है आपका करिस्मेटिक लीडरशिप. जो करिस्मेटिक लीडर होते हैं इज विजनरी. ऐसे नाम करिस्मेटिक, इट्स विजनरी and works by infusing a high amount of energy and enthusiasm in his team. He sets a role model for his team and drives others to show a higher level of the performance. This type of leader is committed to the organization and believes more in him rather than the team. So the presence of charismatic leaders works as a boost for the rest of the employees, and therefore such type of leaders should be committed to the organization for the long run. So charismatic leadership may pose a risk to the company if it decided to leave to explore new opportunities, and it might take a lots of time and hard work by the company to win the confidence of the employees. So these are the work done by the charismatic leadership. मुझे 3-4 लीडरशिप और पढ़ लो, फिर आज ही टॉपिक खत्म हो जाएगा. टाइम इज गोइंग ऑन. नेक्स्ट आता है आपका पार्टिसिपेटिव लीडरशिप, also known as the democratic leadership style. Participative leadership consults employees and seriously consider their idea when making decision. ये कहीं ना एम्प्लॉय को ध्यान में रखते डिसीजन लेते हैं, उनको एम्प्लॉयज को कंसीडर करते हैं, बेसिकली ये कंसल्ट करते हैं. और जब कंपनी मेक चेंजेस विद इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, द पार्टिसिपेटिव लीडरशिप स्टाइल हेल्प एम्प्लॉयज एक्सेप्ट चेंजेस इजीली बिकॉज दे आर गिवन अ बिग रोल इन द प्रोसेस. तो participative leadership may be required for the tasks that are non-routine or unstructured, where relationships are non-authoritarian and the subordinates locus of the control is internal. So this is how participative leadership done. कि कहीं ना कहीं क्या करते हैं, एम्प्लॉयज को कंसल्ट करते हैं, उनकी हेल्प लेते हैं डिसीजन मेकिंग में. तो कहीं ना कहीं जो एम्प्लॉयज है जब एक डिसीजन बन जाता है तो उसको इम्प्लीमेंट भी इजीली कर लेते हैं, फॉलो अच्छे से करते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि उनका एक बिग रोल होता है इसमें डिसीजन में. तो दिस इज हाउ पार्टिसिपेटिव लीडरशिप वर्क्स. नेक्स्ट आता है आपका डायरेक्टिव लीडरशिप. Directive leadership provides guidance about what should be done, how it should be done, scheduling work, maintaining standards of the performance. Thus, it may be inferred that directive leadership is effective as the subordinates have an external locus of control, lacks experience, has a high need for clarity or a low need for the achievement. Also, when the task is unstructured and there is a conflict between the work group, so a more directive style would be useful. Next है आपको supportive leadership. अगर हम supportive leadership की बात करें, बस दो points रह गए. Supportive leadership show concern for the needs of the employees. The leader is friendly and approachable. Supportive leadership would be more suitable for highly structured tasks under bureaucratic and formal authority relationships. So in supportive leadership, leaders support their subordinates officially and sometimes personally also. कि कुछ चीजें होती है ना, कई बार हम लोग एक मीटिंग चल रही है उसमें हम डिस्कस नहीं कर पाए कुछ पॉइंट, तो पर्सनली वी कैन डिस्कस ना, दैट इज सपोर्टिव लीडरशिप क्वालिटी. So a leader always try to fulfill their requirement. It boosts employees morale also. Obviously, जिस employee ने उस क्वेश्चन को, उस क्वेरी को रेज किया आफ्टर दैट मीटिंग, पर्सनली डिस्कस, तो उसको ऑटोमेटिकली मोरल बूस्ट होगा. तो दिस इज हाउ सपोर्टिव लीडरशिप स्टाइल वर्क्स. एंड द लास्ट इज अचीवमेंट ओरिएंटेड लीडरशिप. Achievement oriented Achievement oriented leadership. Achievement oriented leadership encourages employees to perform at their highest level by setting challenging goals, emphasizing excellence, and demonstrating confidence in the employee's abilities. Achievement oriented leadership is largely suitable for the unstructured task where the subordinate need for the achievement is the high. कि जहाँ पे अचीवमेंट सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है कि हमें सिर्फ अचीव करना है, उस सिचुएशन में सबसे ज्यादा ये लीडरशिप स्टाइल फॉलो किया जाता है, अचीवमेंट ओरिएंटेड लीडरशिप स्टाइल. सो ये खत्म हुआ आपका पूरा डायरेक्टिंग फंक्शन. हम लोगों ने इसका मीनिंग किया, इम्पोर्टेंस किया, डेफिनेशंस किया, फीचर्स किए, इम्पोर्टेंस किए, एडवांटेजेस किए, डिसएडवांटेजेस किए, इसके एलिमेंट्स हमने डिस्कस किए. फिर उस एलिमेंट्स के अंदर 3 एलिमेंट्स थे, सुपरविजन, मोटिवेशन एंड लीडरशिप. फिर हमने सुपरविजन के रोल डिस्कस किए, फंक्शंस डिस्कस किए. अगेन हमने सेकंड एलिमेंट, फिर हमने लीडरशिप को पूरे इसके स्टाइल्स को डिस्कस किया कि व्हाट इज लीडरशिप एंड कितने टाइप्स के लीडरशिप होते हैं. देयर आर 11 टाइप्स ऑफ लीडरशिप स्टाइल्स. मैंने मतलब जितने भी थे आपको सारे डिस्कस किए हैं. सो इसी के साथ आपका डायरेक्टिंग फंक्शन खत्म होता है. So today we have completed the third function of the business organization management. And fourth function will be discussed in the next class. That would be the staffing function. आज के लिए इतना ही.
मैम सेशन एंड कर दूं?
हाँ जी, कर दीजिए.